for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. We knew this from high school, right?
That's correct.
So, why are we always in the reactive position in HR as opposed to the proactive position? Why aren't we on the front of the problem before it becomes a problem? So when we do have this opportunity, then we want to take it.
Welcome to MetaGagement, the HR show that dives deep into the heart of employee engagement and workplace culture. Your hosts, Ann Scottlin and Dr. Lyman Montgomery, bring you a groundbreaking show that explores innovative strategies and insights to transform and elevate your organization's HR practices. Dr. Montgomery is an employee engagement expert and best-selling author, while Ann Scottlin is an acclaimed business consultant and podcaster. Together, they will unpack the complexities of modern HR challenges and reveal innovative solutions that can be immediately applied to your workplace. Please welcome Ann Scottlin and Dr. Lyman Montgomery.
Welcome back to MetaGagement-HR, a show designed specifically for you if you're in the HR profession. And even if you're not, you will not go away disappointed learning tricks and tools of the trade in working with other people, especially this mini-series we're doing right now, which is the business persona types from our assessment. Hi, Lyman.
Hello, how are you doing?
I am good. As always, this is my partner, Dr. Lyman Montgomery. I'm Ann Scottlin, and we're bringing you a new episode today. Lyman, do you want us to give them a little recap of what we've been doing? This is the fourth out of 5 in our 5 persona types architecture.
Yeah, if you missed the last couple ones, please go back and listen or watch those podcasts. Very insightful. We kicked off talking about the cheerleader, the motivator, the inspirational type of person. Then we moved to the construction worker, which is the persona of the person who likes to get their hands. They like to get in there with the team. They say, you know what, I wouldn't ask anyone to do anything that I wouldn't do. And then last week we talked about the chess player, highly analytical, always thinking about the next move. They're looking for the root cause. And today we want to talk about the commander.
The commander. I know. I love this one. This is going to be fun. You know, it always makes me think about, I don't know if you saw that really great movie called Master and Commander with Russell Crowe. He's the commander. Oh, it's probably 15 years old now, but he's the commander of a British ship. And they sail around through the Galapagos and a whole bunch of other things, and encounter the French and other exciting. It's just a great show. And this is a really silly example, but one of my favorite parts of that is a joke. I'm just going to be completely nerd out here and go with the commander thing. So but I think it applies to HR. So he's sitting at the table in the boat. He's in the captain's cabin there with a couple of his right-hand men and this deck boy, the one who like takes care of the little chores and whatever. And they're eating bread, and they've been at sea for a long time. And they realize that the bread has weevils in it. And he says to the kid, you know, it's just like anything else. You have to pick the better of 2 weevils. I cannot believe I just said that. It's in the movie.
That is so corny, but it's funny.
Go see it. But isn't that the case so many times? Like, this is the role of the commander often. Because as you said last time, there's like good, better, best, and it can't always be best. So without any moral connotations, how do you choose between the better of 2 evils, 2 challenges, 2 problems, right? This is something the commanders get to do.
You know, the commander is that person, you know, that if you had to say, well, how would you describe the commander persona? Whether male or female, doesn't matter. They come off highly confident, not arrogant, but highly confident, very decisive. They have a presence about themselves. They tend to be highly positional. They will introduce themselves by their position. Maybe before they introduce themselves by their name, they will say, well, my name is Captain. My name is Coach. You know that they are in charge. And they have a very clear vision of where they want to go. They're very good at rallying the troops. They don't mind making the tough decision. Matter of fact, the more complex or the more complexity and the more difficult, the better they feel. They're at home. If it's a war, they're the first one to sign up. They talk in terms of battle. They talk in terms of we will not be defeated. We are here to win. They come across also, going back to your illustration with Russell Crowe, they love navigating through the crisis,
Mm-hmm.
and they're unwavering in their determination to win.
Yeah, and I think that is the big part of it. And also, typically you hope that the commander of your ship is a wise person.
Yes.
Whether that's a woman, whether that's a man, a wise woman, a wise man, someone with experience, someone who is in an intuitiveness to how to make decisions based on facts and experience. And not only I think what's a little different with the ship metaphor, which I like, is in most cases, unless you're in the Navy, the commander, let's say he's the commander of a commercial ship, right? So it's a little different from commander in the field leading the army. So I am a nerd about medieval and ancient history, as you know, and studied Roman history extensively, and just fascinated with that civilization and how organized they were and how they led the army. And military leadership has a little different vibe, which I think is an important distinction here.
Yes.
Than corporate HR type leadership, right? This kind of commander is not the one who, yes, we're going to win, but we're all going to win. I think that's the difference.
That is the difference. They have that winning spirit about themselves. But a great commander is one that takes it personally, that everybody makes it to the finish line. And so they take it very personal. They want the entire team to win, to your point. Yes.
And it's not just winning is getting a paycheck. Somebody said that recently. I don't know if it was you or someone in one of our workshops was like, well, they always just told me, well, what do you want? I mean, what you get to get is a paycheck. And you're like, okay, but I feel like lousy and I'm uninspired. And yeah, so how do I win personally by being at this job? Tell me that. How do I win personally? I get a paycheck. I could get a paycheck somewhere else in many cases, right? So why do I want to stay here with this company? I'm here. I don't want to make a change, but there has to be something in it for me where I just don't feel like I'm put down every single day. And that's the benefit to a wise and experienced commander who has the ability to lead more than to discipline. I think that's interesting distinction.
Yes. Very good. Very good distinction.
So we're going to jump right in here. As you all know, this is our weekly streaming podcast. And this link that you're watching now on whatever platform you're listening or watching will keep you on the show today. And also you can copy and paste it, send it to anyone if you'd like them to join us live today, or if you just want them to watch it later. If they are in business, if they are in HR, they will thank you for it. So shoot that off to them. We really appreciate your help. And do like and subscribe here on whatever channel you are as well, so that we can help keep this content coming to you. And jumping into this persona, notice we don't say personality type. That's a quick review. Our specific MetaGagement assessment for HR deals with business personas of people in the company, which is a little different from traditional personality tests, which is I am always primarily a certain way, because we like to acknowledge that as humans, we play different roles. A lot of times, someone who can be incredibly assertive at work can be incredibly lazy at home. In fact, they maybe think they've earned that when they get home at night.
Yeah, and it's a very good distinction in the fact of personality versus persona. This is how you tend to show up in your work role, even though understanding that you can easily flow from a commander, like you said, at home, very decisive, and get home and not make any decisions at all and become a cucumber.
So commander at work, cucumber at home.
Yes.
No, that's great. I love that. And so what we've been doing is moving into scenarios to give you real life examples of what happens when you're facing a particular challenge, a particular problem at work in particular, for today's purposes, HR problem, and what the commander persona, wow, just flipping words everywhere as usual. Commander persona is useful for in helping solve that particular problem. So today we wanted to talk about, one is leading DEI transformation. As always, this is a really important part of what we do here at MetaGagement. Not only are we talking about engagement in HR as a whole, but we're also specifically talking about DEI a lot. That's another area of expertise. So DEI engagement. So how do you lead DEI transformation? And the problem that we have today would be the company lacks cohesive DEI strategy. That is a big one.
Yes.
I think we've talked about that before on the show when we did a live poll recently at an event where you and I were speaking to HR professionals, and they said that I forget what the numbers were, but it was something like
Yeah, it was something like
70% of the time. Yeah, you
70%,
give us that
yes.
number. I'll let you
Yeah.
repeat that.
Yeah, I think something like 67 or 70% said they wait till there's like a crisis before they actually do anything, which I thought was incredible. But it's reflective of the industry. HR by its nature tends to be very reactionary. There has to be an action, something has to happen, and then HR gets involved. What we're saying, let's reverse that, and instead of being reactionary, being proactive. And so these scenarios put you in a position of not just being always reactionary, but to move into being proactive.
And for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. We knew this from high school, right?
That's correct.
So, why are we always in the reactive position in HR as opposed to the proactive position? Why aren't we on the front of the problem before it becomes a problem? So when we do have this opportunity, then we want to take it. And that's a lot about what we do here at MetaGagement. But let's say we are stuck. Maybe we have a new job. We've inherited a problem. The company we work for lacks a cohesive DEI strategy. They have inconsistent practices. They have low employee engagement. So the commander persona comes into this and says, wow, so somehow I have to develop a clear DEI vision and strategy. What are some things that a captain might be likely to do? A commander, rather, would be likely to do?
Yeah, they're more likely, number one, they may not be the one, they might, for example, they may pull in the chess player, they may pull in the cheerleader, they may pull in the construction worker and say, listen, this is where I want to go. What's the best route to get us there? The commander is very good at articulating the vision for whatever it is, if it's a DEI rollout, a new strategy, the goals and action plan. They may not be the one to actually put it together, but they are very clear where they want to go. So the commander will pull together the team and say, listen, this is where I think we need to go. And I need for you to do this. They would start handing out assignments, and they would say, put together a one-page synopsis and talking points, and I go sell it. And that's really their strong suit. Is think of the commander as a great communicator, because they're going to communicate vision. They're going to communicate it with passion. It's going to be filled with strategy, and it's going to exude with confidence. And so again, it's going to be filled with confidence, clear vision, and a strategy. And they're great at communicating that. They also will ensure that it's in alignment with the objectives, with the mission. And so everyone's on board, and their goal is to make sure that everyone is on board. They will stop and say, okay, are we clear? Are there any questions? But they want to make sure that when they execute, there is no doubt, no reservation, no trepidation. And they think in terms like this. Everyone knows their role. Everyone knows their seat on the bus. Let's get on the bus. I'm going to drive the bus. When we get off the bus, everybody knows what he or she or they are supposed to do. We don't have any weak links because
Yeah.
everyone has been empowered and is being communicated what the commander expects.
And this is really a big part of why the commander is so good at helping implement,
Yes.
whatever decisive actions, in this case, DEI actions, need to be taken. Commanders are usually able to make bold decisions. Now, what's the difference between some of the other personas? They can make iffy decisions. When you
Yes.
are uncertain about a decision and you're in a position of leadership, everyone can tell you're uncertain, which does not make you feel bold. It makes you, when you say, this is how we're going to do it, and you look terrified, they're going to be like, oh, great. And we're following this person into the fray here. So bold decisions are informed decisions. Bolder decisions can be made with the right resources, with the right advice, with the right counsel, with the right outside or internal and external strategists and experts to help you. Making bold decisions is not impossible. So this is a bold decision, such as how to appoint DEI leaders and allocate resources. This is an important piece. How do you lead with that confidence and decisiveness because you're actually confident? People can smell a rat. I hate to say it, but it's true. When you are pretending to be confident, they can tell. And we could go into a whole 6-month session here on the science of the mind. Yeah. And how that works and how we can play with that to the advantage of everyone involved. But this is a big part of mindset, of going meta, of having a meta mindset and having a meta strategy. How do you inspire employees? And again, this goes back to a leader, say commander of the boat, as opposed to commander of the army on the ground, inspiring, motivating, helping inspire everyone that they're going to win. And I just want to draw one last conclusion or comparison here. The commander is still a very different persona from the cheerleader. The cheerleader genuinely adores you. The cheerleader genuinely believes in your best self. They see your greatest potential. They have no doubt that you can achieve it. And they have a kind of effervescence to them, which makes everybody feel better and have more fun. The commander is more of a calming influence that inspires a feeling of safety and security.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
Yeah, so that's them inspiring the employee, helping people see that your confidence is authentic, that they can trust your decision making, is a huge part in the commander persona and how you would address, in this case, solving these DEI vision and strategy challenges.
Yeah, and sometimes the command, go back to the analogy of the commander, the cheerleader, the construction worker, even the chess player. Sometimes we think in terms of a family dynamic, what we so-called traditional family dynamic. The cheerleaders like the big brother, big sister. Okay, they're going to inspire you. They might joke a little bit, but they really want you to succeed. The commander can come across as the authoritative, whether that's a strong mom in a house, a strong dad, a strong grandparent in a home. Whereas the chess player sometimes is that individual that might be quiet, but they listen to everything, like a grandparent. They're the wise sage of a grandparent or uncle sometimes that no judgment, but will ask those deeper questions because they really want to understand and get to the root cause. Whereas the construction work sometimes like the cuz, oh, let's just go ahead and do it. Don't worry about, hey, I'm with you, cuz, let's roll.
Yes.
If you think in terms of that, of that wise one, the wise uncle that gives advice, sometimes unsolicited, or a grandparent, whereas sometimes the parent can be sort of like that commander where you feel safe. You feel that sense of confidence, that sense of security. And sometimes the cheerleader could be the dad. It doesn't always, so don't think in terms that the commander is the father and the cheerleader is the mom. No, it could be reversed.
No,
In my
absolutely.
home, my mom was the commander, and my stepdad, who raised me, was more of a construction worker. He would get in the field, let's go get your hands dirty. I'm going to show you how to do it, demonstrate it. Whereas my grandparents my grandma was more of the cheerleader, and my grandfather was more of that chess player, where he would always say, well, why do you think that happened? Have you thought about this? He would ask those very deep, profound questions.
Absolutely. No, it makes such a big difference. And the profound questions can be so much more impactful than the unsolicited advice. I could probably tell a bunch of family stories about that right now, but I will refrain. Okay. So because our producer is telling us we have to go to our commercial break, so we're going to go do that right now. Please shoot us your comments, questions, shoot this link off to someone who would enjoy joining us today or after the program even, and we will be right back. Welcome back to the second part of MetaGagement-HR today. We only have a few more minutes left, so we're glad you're here for the ride, and we have saved the best for last a bit, which is continuing in our discussion here on the commander persona from our assessment, 5-persona assessment on having a powerful workplace team. And we're going to use another scenario now to help break down what the role of the commander can be and what that persona does. And we're going to start with investigating workplace misconduct. Nothing big, Lyman, just workplace misconduct. I'm going to let you talk.
Yeah, no problem. Again, when it comes to a workplace investigation, the strong suit of the commander is to cut through a lot of the weeds. They want to get to what the root cause is. What's the problem? Now, the commander will pull in, again, as I mentioned earlier, they would pull in a team. They might not necessarily do the initial investigation. They might be the one that says, you know what? Do the leg work. Let me do the actual investigation interviews, because they're very good at saying things like this. Okay, we've looked at the videotape. We've interviewed a number of people, and we want to give you an opportunity to share from your perspective what happened. And as soon as that person starts going off, they bring them back. They're like, with all due respect, that's not germane to what we're talking about, and we're going to focus on you. So sometimes they might be interviewing someone, they might bring in 4 other people. Well, John did this and Alan did this. Say, okay, we're not talking about them right now. We're talking about you. So let's keep the answers about you. What was your role? So sometimes if they're not careful, it can come across as more of an interrogation than an interview. But a skillful commander will understand when they need to apply a little bit more pressure and when they need to be a little bit more communicative, as well as cordial with the individual. So it's that balance between how much pressure should I apply and when should I sort of lean back and listen. And here's a short story. I worked with a person that was a commander persona, and where I wasn't really getting anywhere, the person was all over the place. The commander just came in and said, good friend of mine, he said, listen, I know that you have a lot to say, but we don't have a lot of time. So let's cut through the chase. Were you or were you not there when this happened? That's all I need to know, and we can get out of here. And what like magic, the person said, "Oh, yeah, I was there," as opposed to going around the mulberry bush. He just cut through the chase. Were you there? Yes or no? And so
Exactly.
that's the benefit of the commander, is that they can cut through the minutia, cut through all the weeds, get to the truth, wrap it up, and let's move on.
And the beauty of it is that it's instinctive.
Yeah.
Again, not necessarily your whole personality trait, maybe one that you use most at work. Maybe you do use it all the time, but it can be one that's just mostly employed at work, or it can be your primary or dominant persona. And that is enough. And again, anytime you're operating within a persona and utilizing those specific skills, it means that you are working with letting an individual do this task who has a natural instinct, a
Yes.
natural ease. It doesn't mean that it's all easy. It just means that they're believable, they are authentic, they can make decisions, and people trust that they have, your best interest in mind, or the best interest of at least the company in mind. So you have a confidence level that communicates clearly with them.
Yeah. And the last thing I say about going back to, let's say, an interview, they will start off making you feel extremely comfortable. They're very good at building rapport. They're going to build trust. They're going to maintain confidentiality and the integrity of the process. They will protect the integrity of the process, but they're going to get to the truth. And the last thing that I will say about the commander, which is something a lot of people don't realize, is that where they may come across as a hard exterior, once they begin to talk, it's amazing. I've seen them where the person opens up and say, "You know what? I did it. I'm sorry. I don't know why I did it. Please, forgive me." And it's because they feel safe with sharing that information, because, again, where the commander might be direct. And we had a saying when I studied martial arts that said, "Firm yet yielding."
Mm-hmm.
It is the velvet glove over the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They still got a hammer, but they clothe it with a velvet glove.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. Yes, and comes naturally in so many
Yeah.
ways, which is the genius of the persona and what you step into with ease in an environment, which can come from a whole lifetime of experience. You may not have felt like you were a born commander, but you have accumulated the experience. You have learned from other great commanders. You have those aspects that are most useful in this situation. So when you're on a team, you want to recognize that. And as always, learning all these personas is so useful when you have that special opportunity to build a team from the bottom up. But even if you don't, you can still try to identify these or bring in new parts of a team that will bring you the pieces that you're missing. If you have 5 commanders, I don't think you need me to explain where that might be going. So
Yes.
more for that later. Well, we're nearly done already here on the Commander, the 5 personas. We're so glad you've been with us here for this episode 4 of our 5 persona type architecture here on MetaGagement-HR. We have one left that will be on our next episode, which is going to be one of my favorites, the chemist. So you're
Yes.
not going to want to miss that. Be sure to tune in. As always, we're streaming on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. GMT, or you can, once it's aired, this link will work and you can rewatch the show at any time. So any final thoughts, Lyman, today on the commander and how this is, how important this is to a balled team and
Yeah.
a balanced HR effort?
Yeah. Again, I would just reiterate that the commander is a great communicator. They will take decisive answers. The strength of the commander also is they don't need a lot of data. They have a sense about it. So they might listen or they might read the first page and say, "You know what, I think I understand what's going on here." They might listen to the first 2 minutes of a conversation and say, "You know what, I think I got it." And that's the genius of the commander. They don't need a lot of information. They have a good sense about people, and their goal is to promote a respectful workplace and culture and prevent future problems, because at the end, they want everyone to get to the other side safe and feel this sense of accomplishment and respected in the workplace.
I love that. I love that. Wonderful. Thank you so much, as always, being here. Dr. Lyman Montgomery, my partner. I'm Ann Scottlin. Join us again next week. And please go to our website, shoot us an email, questions, comments. We would love to hear from you. We want this show to be about you and your real life needs. So help us tailor the content to meet what you would like to hear about, and shoot us that message. Until then, we'll see you for the next episode, and take care.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.